After some hesitation, James decides to send text messages to various people in a special chat room.
To all my fellow shareholders of the USS Sandy, I think we need to reconsider the issue of selling the ship to NASA, since I think they can make better use for it than us. The Sabari are no longer a threat, so I think the ship can be used for exploration of other parts of the solar system. I agree, let's sell it.
Yes, I agree too. Yes, Cousin James.
I agree.
I will agree on one condition, James. Remove the time travel device before we let NASA take over the ship. We have used time travel for good, but I am worried that someone might misuse the ship to change history for evil purposes.
All right. I will have that device removed. But what should be done with it? Well, maybe we can install it at the Smith-Wilson mansion and turn that into a massive time machine. Remember the Doctor Who show and how the TARDIS was actually the Doctor's home? All right, let's try that.
Then I vote to sell the ship. I will miss it, but as you mentioned last year, we can still do a lot of good with that money.
Then it is settled. I will contact the NASA director and make him an offer. Thank you for your generous offer, Mr. Smith. We will pay you what we offered before, $6 billion. All right. I will have that money split evenly between the 6 shareholders of the USS Sandy. I can't wait to see what we can do with that ship. Now that we have installed the time travel device, including its radiator, in our mansion, we can use it to travel back in time. The only limitation is that we can't launch the mansion from the surface of Earth like we can the USS Sandy. We also have installed an invisibility device, so if we travel back to ancient or prehistoric times, our mansion won't be noticed by outsiders.
You know what I'd like to do? Go back in time and beat my brother David in the face before he starts putting out all that hateful shit he has been saying about us via the internet.
You don't really think anyone listens to that crap, do you?
His videos on YouTube get thousands of views each, and his channel has over 2 million subscribers, so a lot of people do listen to him. But I don't think beating anyone up is the answer, Whitney. We just have to counter David Owen's nonsense with the clear truth.
Let's worry about that later. Can't we figure out what historical events to explore?
In school, Mac and I have been studying American history. Could we travel back to the time of the American Revolution?
Sure. We'd just have to get some costumes to wear to blend in with people living about 300 to 250 years ago.
So, Mr. Sims, you say you want to work for the Dallas Police Department as forensic scientists?
That's right, sir.
But didn't you and your wife become world famous after you landed on Mars? Why take on a totally different line of work than exploring a planet?
Diana and I want to help solve crimes in the interest of promoting justice. Other scientists are exploring Mars now, so we don't need to be there.
I read the academic background you sent me. You majored in chemistry, while your wife majored in biology. You could investigate sites of suspicious fires to rule out or confirm a claim of arson. And your wife could examine corpses with fly larvae to determine when the subjects died.
Exactly. It may take us time to become experts in various forms of forensic work, though.
I will pair you and your wife up with Dr. Lisa Collins. She is our most experienced forensic scientist. She is set to retire in a few months, though, so it would be to our benefit for her to teach you all she knows before she steps down. You remember telling me about the YouTube channel Debbie discovered? The one with David Owen?
Yes. His hate propaganda is so disgusting.
Well, I think we have a way to counter his lies. As you know, Dr. Drake died the week after he finished the manuscript for his book, My Life as a Genuine Christian in a Texas Town. His last request on his deathbed was for me to publish his book. And now I have. I am listed as its editor, and a copy of it was just sent to us from the book's publishing company.
Yes. This is exactly what we need. David Owen never lived here, but Dr. Drake was born in this town, worked here, and died here. So he has way more credibility.
Can I read that book too? Afterwards, I will buy my own copy. But my brother still has a massive advantage, since people all over the world can access his YouTube channel for free, while people have to buy Dr. Drake's book to see what's in it.
I've got it. We can take all the material in this book and make it the basis for a series of videos on YouTube. Debbie, you remember telling me about an app called Plotagon that could be used by anyone to tell dramatic stories without needing a massive Hollywood budget?
Yes. My mother used it on several occasions to defend herself from lies told about her by the faithful remnant. And after her death, I used it to post on YouTube a biography of her. The Life and Times of Sandy Smith.
Well, I'm going to download the latest version and use it to tell Dr. Drake's story online, and counter the lies told by the son of one of the Faithful Remnant's founders.
Great. If you need help from me and Carrie, just ask. David Owen needs to go down like his father and grandfather did.
The dozens of solar panels I ordered have just arrived and I will have them installed on the roof of this mansion. Once that is done, I will then detach the mansion from the town's power grid and attach the solar panels to the battery in the mansion's basement.
I hope you know what you are doing, James. What if something goes wrong with the time travel device or this mansion's power systems? We could end up stuck in the past. Or even worse, get killed if the mansion is destroyed.
We were taking risks with the USS Sandy, and yet we were successful. It's Vicky.
James, Paul and I have finished moving our stuff out of the mansion and into the house I and Carrie once shared with our mothers Jessica and Lucy. Now you can proceed with making time jumps with the mansion, while Paul and I continue with our careers and also work on dealing with the jerk David Owen. Debbie and Carrie will come over soon to help us.
Good. I hope you take David Owen down. I'm so sick of those haters trying to rise up again.
Paul, even after my and Carrie's mothers left this house, they never changed anything about this room that I spent my teen years in.
So what do you want to do with it?
I don't know. I was always attached to my mothers and sister, not any house I lived in. I guess we can box all this stuff up and put them in the attic.
Suddenly, there's a radio announcement.
2 hours ago, Vicky Jones, one of the most beloved TV actresses and producers, died after a long struggle with cancer. She is survived by her husband, Paul Jones, and her millions of devoted fans of her classic show, Paul and Vicky / The Blazing Beauty.
What? I will miss her. I wasn't just a fan of hers. She was one of my best friends.
One day, Debbie is interviewing a couple of new applicants for models at Aphrodite Agency.
Welcome. I am Debbie Smith, the CEO here. And you two seem familiar. Are you twins? We are actually triplets. I am Sarah Belmont and this is my sister, Susan. We also have a brother, Sammy, who lives in Houston. I remember. You three were born to a teen mother, Deborah, and she had to give you up for adoption. You spent years in foster care until your birth mother got married and then fought to regain custody of you. That's right. And I think it was your mother who acted as our mother's lawyer in court to fight for us. Yes. It was the last case my mother took on before she retired. She told me it was a great case to end her legal career on. I just wish we could have done more for you. I know you must have had a hard life. True, but we got through it and now as adults we want to make a bright future for us. Since your mother helped us, we were hoping you would too. Sure. We just started a new campaign and we could certainly use new blood to spice things up.
Welcome to my science lab. I am Dr. Lisa Collins and I will be training you and Diana. Thank you both for joining the police force.
I can't wait to get started. So, are there cases we are working on now?
Not at the moment, so I am free to teach you two everything I know. Plus, I am a huge fan of yours because of your trip to Mars. I'd love to hear more about it.
Thanks.
According to these readings, the newly installed solar panels are supplying plenty of power to the mansion and its battery. Now to test the newly installed systems. Mac, can you hear me?
Yes, Father James. I am outside looking at the front and the roof of the mansion now.
All right, I will activate the invisibility device and see if it makes the mansion invisible like it would have the USS Sandy. Activating now.
Yes, it works. The mansion is completely invisible from the outside.
What? We just lost all the power from the solar panels. But why?
Cousin James, look out the window. When you activated the invisibility device, it blocked any light from outside, making everything look totally black. So no light can reach the solar panels, and so we will have no power soon.
Oh my god. Turning the USS Sandy invisible was no problem, because it had its own internal power sources. But if the invisibility device makes our mansion's solar panels useless, then we have a problem. Turning off the device.
James then consults with others in the household to find a solution to their problem.
So it seems we cannot turn the mansion invisible except for brief periods of time, so that seems to rule out going back to historical times, where the mansion would be noticed by outsiders. But what if we could travel to prehistoric times like we did for our first time trip?
Are you suggesting we go back to the time of my and Mac's original parents and visit them again?
That is one possibility, yes. I'm sure they would be happy to see you two again, even if only for a few hours.
All right. 100,000 years ago, here we come.
Okay, the time and place coordinates are set. We will travel back in time 100,000 years and to the same exact place the USS Sandy landed at, near the Po River and south of the Alps. Activating time travel device.
Wah!
Father James, you did it. This is indeed my original family's hunting and gathering grounds.
So the time travel device worked just as I intended. Now let's go visit your original parents.
So this is where Mac and Jen spent their first years? I can't say it is cozy. It's nothing like your mansion, but it was still our home. But where are our original parents?
They are probably out gathering food. They should be back soon. And sure enough, a couple of hours later. Jen and Mac, my children, you are back. How have you two been? Great, Papa Greylock. Once we got used to life in the future, we grew to love it so much. We couldn't be happier.
But where is Mama Bong? Isn't she with you?
Of course. And here she comes now.
Jen and Mac, welcome back. And come see your new sister, Flo.
Oh, she's beautiful, Mama Bong.
That was why we wanted you to take Jen and Mac, so we would have room in this cave for the next child we were going to have. I hope you understand that.
Of course. And Jen and Mac have been a blessing to us. This is my own mate, Penny.
Hello, Mr. Greylock. And Mrs. Bong.
So where's your ship? I didn't see it outside.
We actually came back here a different way. We have seen your cave. Now come see our home.
James and Penny lead Greylock's family to the Smith-Wilson mansion.
So, what do you think?
I am simply amazed at what you have. This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. I have a question, though. It's obvious that you and your kind are vastly superior to us cave dwellers in every way, yet from the start you have treated us as equals, with total respect. But, why?
Yes, we are superior, but the fact remains that you are among our ancestors. Without you, we wouldn't exist. We are only great because of what you did before us to make our lives possible. No matter what happens, don't ever let anyone treat you, your mate, or your daughter flow like lesser beings. Anyone who does that you should consider your enemy. I will keep that in mind, James.
So this is where you make all your meals. Clearly, I and Grillock were right to send Jen and Mac away if this is what they knew of now.
Would you like to eat a meal here too? I can bake some chicken or fish and serve fruits and vegetables from our refrigerator.
Sure, I'd love that.
Mac and I thought you and Papa would be so lonely without us, Mama.
It's actually a relief to learn that is not the case. I always wanted a sister. And now I know I have one.
After enjoying dinner together with Penny, James, and their children, Grillock and Pelabong return with Flo to their cave. And then the time travel device is used to return the Smith-Wilson mansion to its original time and place. Wah!
I'm thinking maybe we should get rid of the time travel device and the invisibility device. They are not as much use here as I thought they would be.
You could always build another spacecraft, James.
Yes, but it wouldn't be the USS Sandy. I regret selling it now.
I don't. I like us being billionaires now. We really don't have to do any more work for the rest of our lives, James. So how about we quit our current jobs and do some traveling around the world for a few months, at least?
Of course. We don't even need to use the time travel device to go back in time. We can use it to move this mansion to anywhere else in the present-day world. No need to fly around in planes or go cruising on ocean ships. We can take our own home with us when we travel.
James, that is such a brilliant solution. But we will have to wait until next summer to do that. For now, Jen and Mac must attend school here in the town.
Of course.
One afternoon, Carrie comes home from another day out working with Charles McKinsey as Queer Avengers.
Debbie, can you go talk to Carrie? We just came from a particularly horrible case, and I think it broke her heart.
Sure, but what happened? Charles told me what you and he discovered at that house.
Debbie, I don't understand. How could anyone not only kill his love partner and himself, but his partner's parents and sister as well? Even when I was suicidal, it never occurred to me to kill you, my mother's, or anyone else. I only wanted to end my own pain, not hurt anyone else. And knowing my death would have hurt others was enough to convince me to never attempt suicide again.
That's because you are a good person who sees your own humanity in everyone else. This sick guy clearly had no feelings for anyone else.
Right before the murders and suicide happened, Charles and I got a call from the house. It was from the killer's partner. He said he wanted his lover investigated for making threats and that he and his partner had already broken up. 2 hours later, we arrive at the house to find all 5 of the people there dead. 2 young men, 1 middle-aged couple, and a teenage girl. She was about my age. When I almost died that night.
And Charles said it was a mass shooting. The kind that could have ended his and Michael's own lives had we not stopped that killer in 2029.
Yeah. It's just so frustrating that we couldn't save these people too. They didn't deserve to die.
Father Charles, thanks for calling me about this case. I'll go over there now with Dallas police officers. Will you be there? Yeah, I just had to drop off your mother Carrie. See you later.
Debbie, the Dr. Drake video I and Carrie worked on is now out on YouTube. I posted it on my channel.
Good, I will look at it later. But we have a different problem. Last week, a mass shooting took place in a house right here in Dallas, and the shooter was a gay man named Carl. He killed his love partner Benny, Benny's parents, and Benny's teen sister Joan.
and David Owen just made a video about it. Oh, really? I will look it up.
A few days ago, Carl Bennett, a homo, murdered his lover and that lover's entire family before killing himself in Dallas. To me, this is clear proof of how the gay lifestyle corrupts people so much that it makes them completely selfish, cruel, and insane. Only a Christian lifestyle can save people and make society better. And yet the younger generations think they can ignore the facts. Do not let the atheists, the perverts, the apostates, and the amoral win. Save our lives and save our country.
What the hell? Time for us to do our own research to debunk that crap.
And sure enough, Debbie and Carrie put out a response a couple of days later.
David Owen just put out a ridiculous statement slamming a man for being gay, suggesting that his homosexuality made him a mass murderer. A link to his bullshit is below.
What justification can he have for linking homosexuality to mass shootings? Are most mass shootings caused by gay men? There is the case of John List, who was by all accounts straight. In 1971, he killed his wife, his 3 children, and his mother. So being a family annihilator is nothing new. It was happening nearly a century ago. And what is even worse, is that John List did not kill himself like Carl Bennett did. He moved to another city, changed his name, and even remarried. He was eventually brought to justice, but for most of his life he professed to be a Lutheran, attending church and even teaching Sunday school. So can we argue that List's Christianity made him a mass murderer?
We also remember Ted Wilson, who was one of our worst enemies when I and Carrie were teens and much later. He professed to be a Methodist, but that did not stop him from murdering my cousin Rebecca and blinding their baby daughter Janet. And you know who was a close associate of Ted Wilson and the faithful remnant? David Owen's own father, Nicholas Owen. And they both died during the Battle of Austin in 2036, when they were trying to overthrow the state government of Texas.
So David Owen really needs to shut up and stop making such a fool of himself. These 2 beautiful ladies were my mothers, Jessica and Lucy Sims. They were lesbians and atheists, much like me and Debbie. But they taught me how to love others, so that when I grew up, I could love Debbie in turn and be loyal to her just as my mothers were loyal to each other. Their being lesbian, and I and Debbie also being LGBT, were only a small part of their lives. And they, along with all others, should be judged by how they treated others. Their memory lives on through Debbie and me, and we will stand up for the rights of all other LGBT people no matter what.
The video Debbie and Carrie made attacking David Owen and his own video has already gone viral after only a couple of weeks, and other YouTube content creators have taken footage from both videos and spliced them together with their own comments. It is so absolutely disgusting to me that this arrogant pile of shit can take a tragic event like a mass shooting of an entire family and use it as an excuse to try to push his bigoted religious views on the public. For the record, there is absolutely no evidence that being Christian makes people less likely to commit murder or suicide. Fortunately, Debbie Smith and Carrie Sims, 2 of the most powerful advocates for the rights of LGBT people like myself on the internet, made their own response in which they made actual historical reference to a Christian committing a mass shooting, and also told of their own dealings with a bigoted murderer and child abuser.
The lady in red here. And I wish to thank Debbie Smith and Carrie Sims for standing up for the LGBT community against an ignorant bigot named David Owen.
The sad truth is that the internet has allowed all sorts of crazy people to put out all sorts of ridiculous delusions, often in the name of extremist politics or religion. That is why we as users of the internet must approach everything we see and hear with a critical attitude.
And soon the YouTube channel of David Owen gets slammed with thousands of angry comments. Hey, you bigoted asshole. I hope you never have a child who turns out to be LGBT. Would you have them put to death? Because that's what the Bible says must happen. There is so much violence in the Bible that if it is the word of God, then I'd rather be a Satanist.
People like you ruled the world during the Middle Ages, and women were killed by being burned at the stake after being accused of being witches. Do you want to burn me, an actual follower of the Wiccan religion? How does my being a witch harm you?
I was raised in a Christian family in Idaho, but now that I have learned of the controversy you started, Mr. Owen, I have decided to become atheist. I don't want to be like you.
As a Christian myself, you are making things a lot harder for people like me who just want to talk about my faith online. Now almost everyone who hears from me think I am a bigot like you.
David Owen ignores all these comments, hoping in a few more weeks the controversy will blow over and he can then resume his podcasts. But the internet tends to preserve what happened, and so people can remember for years to come, and even those who were not aware of the issues now can learn about them later. What an idiot.